Hi, welcome back to Waxing On Friday, and we're going to kind of pick up where we left off last week with comedy. The late 60s, early 70s, a great time for comedy. I can remember myself, I was watching Rowan and Martin's Laughing on NBC. CBS was carrying the Smothers Brothers Comedy Hour. We had Second City TV starting up in the mid-70s up in Toronto. We had Saturday Night Live, mid-70s. But before that, and Monty Python, of course, we talked about last week, early 70s, late 60s. Before that, the late 60s, early 70s, a magazine came out, and some of you may be aware of it, was National Lampoon, the humor magazine. It took a stab at anything. Nothing was sacred. There were no boundaries. They would poke fun at anybody and anything. And sometimes they were pretty brutal about it. Satire, parody. It was just a great magazine that kind of set the tone for where things were going, because a lot of people from Lampoon ended up on the Lampoon Radio Hour. So they had a radio show. They had live stage shows that they would put on the National Lampoon show. I went to one called That's Not Funny, That's Sick that they put on later on. That was in the mid-70s. And quite a few of the people that were involved in Lampoon went on to places like Second City, SCTV. We'll talk about Harold Ramis and Joe Flaherty that went there, as well as a lot went to Saturday Night Live. So this is my first National Lampoon album, Gold Turkey, from the National Lampoon Radio Hour. Once a week, they had an hour show, sketches, music. Eventually went down to a half-hour show. But it was kind of like a forerunner of what you would see on Saturday Night Live, but of course just on radio. So lends itself really well to the recordings. Now, just give you an idea who's on here, and I'll say I'm just going to read off. There's a whole crew of people that are involved with this. Some of them will be familiar to you. I'll read off some of the names. Some of them are more associated with the magazine. One being there, Brian McConaughey. He was with the magazine for a long time. We got Ben Fry, John Wall, Cindy Craig, Doug Kenny. Doug Kenny not only was one of the originators of the National Lampoon magazine, he was also one of the ones, the driving force behind the Harvard Lampoon that was kind of a forerunner of this. Also, Doug Kenny was co-writer of the movie Animal House. So a little bit there with him. Ed Sabinski and Richard Belzer, the comedian, yeah. That's what I'm talking about, the comedian and actor. We've got Emily Prager, Bob Michelson, Sidney Davis, and Beats, one of the writers for Saturday Night in those early years. Janice Hirsch, John Hetchman, Sean Kelly, Gilda Radner. Well, I mean, what do we say about Gilda Radner? One of the original not ready for primetime players. Great actress, did a lot of great work. George Coe, who appeared first season of Saturday Night Live, and then went on and did a lot of other TV after that. Bill Murray. Paul Jacobs, he was involved with a lot of the musical sections of this. This was actually like sketches and musical songs as well, so parodies there and there. We've got Harold Ramis. So Harold Ramis was a member of this. He was also a member of Second City in Chicago. He and Joe Flaherty left the National Lampoon Radio Hour to go to Toronto to set up SCTV. And they were Flaherty was there for the whole duration of Second City TV. Harold Ramis for the first year. Now, the other unfortunate thing I just happened to see this week, Joe Flaherty has passed away, so we've lost him. But he was a mainstay of Second City in the Toronto area and on TV for a lot of years. We've got Brian Doyle Murray. Excuse me. Bill Murray's brother. Caddyshack. The Middle, the TV show. All kinds of movies and TV. He's written some of the material on here as well. We got John Belushi. Christopher Guest. Also involved with a lot of the musical events, and Bruce McCall. I mean, when I look on here, I've got Bill Murray and Sean Kelly writing skits. We got Murray and Brian Doyle Murray writing skits. We got Chevy Chase performing. We've got Christopher Guest with music. And some of these guys were also involved with, I'm trying to think what the song is now, or the movie is. It'll come to me in a minute. Some of you probably already know where I'm headed on that one. Belushi, Brian Doyle Murray, Harold Ramis involved. I mean, there's just so many great performers. I'm not going to read all the skits and the music because, I mean, you'd have to listen to it, and there wouldn't be anything that would really maybe stand out other than the whole idea of this album with so many people that went on to be famous and went on to work on so many other great shows that have become historical or legendary programs like Saturday Night and SCTV. It's just amazing that Lampoon was kind of a springboard for them. And what's on the album is a lot of fun. Now, you got to remember this is mid-70s humor. And again, being National Lampoon, they don't really spare anyone. It can be harsh sometimes. It might not fit in with our sensibilities in the new millennium here with what they were doing at that time, but you got to be aware of that when you go in to listen. So well worth checking out. See some of these people before they really had that big break. It's available streaming networks. They have a lot of the Lampoon albums out there. We've also got hard copies available. Some of the skits, I know I was looking at Lemmings the other day, were on YouTube, so they're available there. But I know people talk a lot about Second City being the springboard for a lot of these people, but really, National Lampoon, with the magazine, with the recordings, with the movies, it really did bring a lot of people to the forefront. Now, I think of, with this, one of the writers was, no, I've forgotten his name, Michael O'Donoghue. Yeah, he was one of the main writers or editors with Lampoon. When I got started, he was head writer of Saturday Night Live for 3 years. Now, I have to admit, I had a book on scripts of Saturday Night Live, and a couple of the ones that were getting censored and edited and not even allowed on TV were Michael O'Donoghue skits. So he was pretty harsh. But well worth checking out, something to give you a few laughs this weekend. National Lampoon. This one, my first National Lampoon album was Cold Turkey. And again, just give you a chance to look at faces on the back. You'll see a few of them you might remember. No, I mean, there's Belushi I can see. We've got Bill Murray up in the back row. Gilda Radner just behind Belushi. Brian Doyle Murray in the checkered shirt down there. Harold Ramis with the curly hair and glasses. I mean, a lot of guys in their younger years. Again, that late 60s, early 70s, just a great time for comedy. It was all developing. It was all new. It was a whole new field that was going on. They were testing the waters. They were pushing the limits. Where we're at today is because of these kind of performances back then. So that's it, my first National Lampoon album. Something for you to give a listen to over the weekend. Everybody take care, stay safe, have a great weekend. We'll see you on Monday.